Good to go.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Call the meeting of the Hartford City Redevelopment Commission to order for May 14th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Ron Dellison.
Present.
Mayor Dan Eckstein.
Here.
Dana Watley. Megan Miller.
Here.
Chad Yenser is absent today. Bob Kingery.
Here.
And also myself, Monica Smith. And we also have Baker Tilley here. And also Laura Coons and Sherry and Warren Brown.
Well, we have a house full. Welcome, everybody. Approval of the April 9th minutes, meeting minutes. Look those over, and I'll take a motion to approve.
I move they be approved.
I'll
Wow.
second.
Man, you guys got lunch dates or what? I have a motion on the floor and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ron Dellison.
Yes.
Mayor Eckstein.
Yes.
Dana Watley.
Yes.
Megan Miller.
I wasn't here for them, so.
We're going to abstain Megan Miller. Bob Kingery.
Yes.
4-0.
All right. First item on the agenda, Mr. Balsano and Baker Tilly, Inc.
Yes. Thank you for having me today. Again, Greg Balsano, Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors. I have my colleague Jack here today with me as well. Just going to give you guys the annual TIF presentation here today. This is a requirement that has to be done once a year. And I know in the years past I've been here giving this similar presentation. The other thing you have with you here, you should have a copy of this packet. This is the presentation we're going to go through. And then we also have a pass-through letter. And if anyone doesn't have one, I've got an extra here, and we have more over there. One there, sorry. We're going to discuss that as well today. So the pass-through decision is a decision that has to be made before June 15th. So we'll talk about that after this presentation. But I'll go ahead and get started here. So starting on slide 2, again, this is the overview of your guys' TIF areas. So tax increment financing. You guys have 3. Oh, we have more presentations. Yeah, Jack, if you could get one. Yeah. You guys have 3 economic development areas: the consolidated Hartford City Economic Development Area, the East area, and the North area. So just as a reminder, the areas are where the money can be spent. So the area in serving or benefiting that area, that's where your money can be spent. Within each of those economic development areas are what are called allocation areas. And that's where the money is actually generated. So in the consolidated area, you have 3 different allocation areas: Hartford City, Blackford Industrial Park, and Old Town Villas. For the East area, you just have the 1 East allocation area, and for the North allocation area. So again, the allocation area, when you hear that term, that's where the money is generated. Economic development area, that's where the money can be spent, again, in serving or benefiting. So there are projects, as you guys know, that can come up outside of those areas. But if your attorney and you guys deem that, that benefits the area still, even though it's outside, there is an argument that money can be used for those projects. So I'm going to go to slide 3 here. This is about the Hartford City allocation area specifically. It was created back in 1999 and expanded in 2016. And you can see that there's 2 different sets of expirations for this area. The original will expire here in the next couple of years, here in 2029. And the expansion will expire 25 years from the date any debt is issued. So currently that portion does not have a set expiration. Now, throughout this presentation, you'll note that the expirations are different for each area. And that is because depending on when that area was created, it was what the law was at that time. So whatever the law stated at that time for TIF's expiration dates is what it's set to. So it has changed over time. Originally, it was a 30-year life. It then switched to a 25-year life. And as we sit here today, it is 25 years from the date any debt is issued. So in that area, last year you collected $306,000 or so. And in 2026, we expect some increase from different growth and things within the area, as well as some amendments we've done, $377,800 in 2026. Now, please note, though, that a majority does come from the original portion of this area. So $358,000 of the $377 is estimated to come from that portion, which will expire after 2029. So keep that in mind. And that's also important to keep in mind, because one thing that TIF has been allowed to use you can use TIF on not just capital projects, but a few years ago, the state made it so that TIF could be used for public safety operating as well. Police, fire expenditures, including salaries and things like that. If that's something that you guys ever choose to start, funding in a way, that's just something to keep in mind because this TIF won't last forever, right? So if you're starting to pay operating expenses that's deemed allowable, you have to keep in mind that this money won't be there. So you have to have a plan for those expenses, how to pay for those once this is gone. So just caution if that is ever a decision that's made. Moving on to slide 4, the industrial park allocation area. This area was created in 2009 and 2024. This area will expire 25 years from the date any debt is issued, both pieces. So it's not set to expire at the moment. In 25, collected $116,000, and in 2026, we estimate an increase to $153,000 or so. So again, strong collections there, and expect some growth to happen this year for 26. The next slide, slide 5, is the Old Town Villas allocation area. That was created back in 2018 and has an expiration of 2044. And the reason that area does have an expiration is because it was tied to some bonds that were issued to help with that development. Last year collected just under $40,000 and expect that to be similar, about $34,000 or so in 2026, a slight decline. Just some notes on the bond issue down there. So there is only about $8,200 remaining on that bond issue. I know we've talked about this bond in the past, that there's money available to be drawn if the project was needed, but it's about $8,200 left, and that would mature later this year once that final amount is paid. Slide 6, the Hartford East allocation area collected about $43,000 last year and expect about $57,000 or $58,000 here in 2026. Similarly to the Blackford Industrial Park area, this area is not set to expire until a debt would be issued from it. That was created back in 2020. And then lastly, the north area, similar, 2020, no set expiration currently, and collections were just under $10,000 in 25 and expect a slight increase there to $17,740 for 2026. So what could some of that money be used for? Again, I know you guys, have various projects going on, ongoing, and throughout the year that you comment. This is a list of just a couple different things that money has been spent on and could be spent on in the future. Again, not an all-inclusive list. We got the Newberry Building, Housing Addition, Daniels Building. But again, I know that's things you guys talk about yearly, and as you're doing your spending plans and different things like that. So, the last section I want to get into here is the TIF impact, and so kind of on slide 10, this is kind of a slide illustrating how TIF operates. So when I say you're collecting these TIF dollars and things like that, how do we actually get there, right? So the base assessed value, if you ever hear those terms, that is what is set when an area is created. So back when you saw those the dates that these were created, at that time, all of the parcels that make up that area have the net assessed value, and that becomes the base. So think of it as, in a simplistic scenario, the area has $100,000 worth of assessed value today, so that's going to be set the base if we're creating an area right now. The growth that occurs, so if that value grows to $1 million down the road, that difference of $900,000, that is what the TIF is collecting on. So it's the difference times the tax rate is what you guys collect, the Redevelopment Commission. So the overlapping units, for example, the county, and we'll go through those units here in a second, they're still getting the money that was there, the assessed value that was there when it was created. That's always going to stay. What the Redevelopment Commission and commissions throughout the state are collecting on is the difference there, right? So you're collecting on the increase, and hopefully, as you're seeing, growth in your TIF areas from doing various things, hopefully, when you put more money into your TIFs, you're going to see growth, right? And that value, that green box that you see, is going to continue to grow. And then one day when the TIF is either no longer needed or set to expire, then all of that assessed value would then go back through to the tax base. And so the last slide here today is slide 11, before we get into any questions in the pass-through. And so slide 11 shows kind of the impact when areas start to expire, right? So when areas start to expire, or if you decide to pass through, what happens to the units? And this is a meeting we've invited the overlapping units to. We sent those invitations out, and if there was interest in coming and hearing about this. And so this is your Hartford City Taxing District, right? All of your TIFs lie within the city taxing district. Within that taxing district on the top half of the schedule, you'll see the units that make this up. So you have the county, Licking Township, the city, the Blackford County School Corporation, the Hartford City Public Library, and the Blackford County Solid Waste Management District. So all of those units, all of their tax rates and levies and such make up this taxing district of $3.42. You can see 3.4275. So that's the tax rate within this area made up of all of those units. In the box, you can see this is all of your guys' allocation areas. So all of them combined to be about 21.3 million. Okay, so that's the assessed value back to that green box we talked about that you guys are collecting on. That times the tax rate less circuit breaker gets that TIF of $641,000 that you see there on the right. So when we add all of the numbers up we were talking about on the prior pages for 2026, it's estimated you could collect about $640,000 again across all of your areas. So the top half of the schedule shows their situation. So I'll go through the city as an example. You can see in that gray line. So the city, all units in the state of Indiana have what's called a maximum levy. Okay, so the state permits how much units can grow their levy each year. It's usually around 4 or 5% every year. So you have a maximum levy that you can adjust up 4% each year. And so what does that mean? That means that your assessed value is driving your tax rate, right? So you have your levy that the state tells you that's the most you can do. You can do less than that. And then, so if you elect that levy, then your assessed value, the higher it is, the lower tax rate you need to support that levy. The lower your assessed value is, you need more of a tax rate to support that levy. So for example, in Hartford City, there's a levy of $3.2 million. The assessed value in the city is $238.5 million, meaning that the city itself needs a tax rate of 1.3513 to support that levy. There are a few funds outside of those levy constraints, and one of those examples is Cume Capital Development. So that fund, when you see increases or decreases in assessed value, can get a little bit more money or less money, depending on which movement you have. So that fund has a levy of $82,773, meaning that it needs a tax rate of 0.0347 to support that. And the same thing goes for all these units you can look through. So the county, for example, not looking at the Cume Capital Development, has a levy of $5.3 million. Their rate is 0.7399 that's needed to support that because their AV is about $717 million. So what would happen if the TIFs didn't exist, right? If they were all gone and you didn't collect anything from those TIFs, that assessed value of $21 million would then flow through to the units, right? So the city's AV would go from $238.5 million to $259.8 million. So you're still collecting on a gross basis that $3.2 million, but your tax rate needed goes down because of that. You don't need as much of a tax rate to support that levy. So it goes from 1.35 to 1.24. Cume Capital Development gets a little bit extra money. So you can see when you apply that same logic to all of the funds, you could see an increase in gross levy from those funds of $11,256 and a decrease in total tax rate of 0.1844. So going from 3.4275 down to 3.2431. This can also help with circuit breakers. So some of those circuit breaker losses could be alleviated a bit by a decreasing tax rate. But the flip side is you are not collecting that $640,000 anymore. So that is gone. So you can't use, that money's gone that you would have to do the projects you've been doing, and any projects that you aspire to do in the future, you wouldn't have that any longer to be able to do those. And so that's kind of the how TIF kind of impacts the units in terms of, by a tax rate basis, dollar basis, and then obviously you're using those dollars to hopefully do projects and help the area even more. So before I get into the pass-through, I guess, does anyone have any questions on that presentation?
Is the quiz coming now or later?
Yeah.
I'm sure Megan's teeming with questions over here.
I'm going to copy off someone else's paper.
TIF's solid for the future. I mean, there's some questions in Indy, whether it's going to be here, whether it's not. What do you
Never
guys
saw
think?
one.
Obviously, I'm not sure what the state will ever do with TIF. They look at it almost every year in some capacity, whether they make provisions that make it more flexible, like they did with public safety, being able to use it for that, or they make provisions that limit it. I'm not really sure kind of how it'll look in the future. I can say that, it is one of the few tools that units have to be able to do economic development. Obviously, there's a few tools out there, but this is one of the main, if not the main one, that units do have to spend on economic development type projects. And so we'll see what has to come. But I can tell you that your guys' TIFs, from a perspective of, as you guys are well aware, Senate Bill 1 from a few years back now, is expected to have an impact on assessed values and different things like that because of new credits, deductions, things that were added from that, right? So with your TIFs and generally speaking with TIFs, it shouldn't have a significant impact because most of the TIFs comprise of commercial, industrial type property. So those weren't as impacted from those provisions. Now, if you had a residential TIF, which those are permitted, that obviously might be impacted because of the new credits, new deductions, and things that have been added. If you had a lot of apartment complexes, for example, in your TIF areas, you're getting new credits, new things like that. So it is always something to monitor from that perspective. But like I said, your areas are generally speaking more commercial, industrial type things. So could there be impacts? Certainly, but I don't expect it to be as much as if it was, like I said, a primarily residential or apartment-driven TIF areas.
It's safe to say that every year it's discussed at the State House.
Yes.
So it's always on the radar.
Yeah. And no, and you're leading right into, it's a great segue into, one of the things they've done recently, as in this last session, is they've made a requirement on the pass-through note, which we're going to talk about next. So what I mean by that, and please feel free to ask any more questions, I'm happy to walk through those, but the pass-through decision is a decision that has to be made by June 15th. What they've done in the most recent session is said that if you do not notify the units and the auditor of your decision, you must pass through 5%. So again, if we're here today, we have the letters with us, but if you were not to make a decision and you didn't notify units and all that kind of thing, you're automatically going to lose 5% of what we're talking about. So 5% of that AV and your money essentially is going back into the tax base. You wouldn't collect it if you just didn't and stayed silent on a decision. So that was something, to your point of are there changes, that was something that was just changed here in the last session. And so, with pass-through, I just will note, when you're making a decision on pass-through, obviously you're looking at, do we have projects that we need this money for going forward? Do we think we have a need to collect this money? When you do make a pass-through decision, many communities, I've seen all sorts of decisions made, but you can decide to pass through nothing, obviously. You need the money to collect on to do projects, or you can decide to pass along a certain percentage. You could do 5%, 10%, 100%, whatever it is. But that directly obviously impacts what you would collect. So this is a decision that is made for next year, right? So every June 15th, you will now make a decision for the next calendar year. So this is a decision for 2027. It would not impact anything for this year. So again, whatever you chose to do, if you did choose to pass through a certain percentage, you wouldn't collect on that, so you can think you're going to see reduced revenues next year. So,
Tyler, did you get a copy of the presentation?
I have not gotten a copy of the presentation.
We will make sure you get that.
Yes, please.
We'll give you Tyler's email address before you guys get out of here. You have any more questions, Tyler? Or any questions?
I don't. No, I've been following along well, and that June 15th, we need to make sure we figure that out before then. That's mission critical at this point.
Well, how about we sort that out here shortly?
Perfect.
Did you want to address that?
The only thing I'll add is historically, in terms of the last handful of years, you guys have elected not to pass through assessed value, determining that the money was needed for the projects essentially, and that's I say a lot of the communities we work with do make a similar decision. I'm not saying them all. There is communities that do pass through. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. It's really more of a determination of do you think you need that money for projects you have coming up, and how do you feel about, you know, what we just went through and all of those kind of things. So obviously I'm happy to answer any more questions, but no, that letter that you have in front of you that I passed out, that assumes you do not pass through, just based on, you know, what this historical has been. But if you did choose to, that letter would just be modified to indicate that you were electing to do that. That letter would then, once you guys do make a decision, would get emailed to the county auditor's office and then physically mailed to all of the overlapping units.
Comment on that, Dave? Tyler, you have any comments on the pass-through side of this?
No, I do not.
I guess ultimately, Greg, we're at your mercy. Your recommendation, can you and will you make a recommendation to this board?
Well, I want to say I recommend one way or the other. It's really more of, do you feel like, you know, because, you know, with about half or so, as you can see, is going to expire in the next few years. So you won't even have a decision to make on that portion here in a couple of years, because it will just go through and it's gone, right? So you'll only be collecting, you know, roughly half of this in, you know, starting 2030 or so. And so I guess I would say, if you feel like you have projects in the coming years that you're going to need this money for, because once you pass it through, you can't get it back next year, right? You can change your decision the year after, but next year it would be, whatever you pass through would be gone. So I guess I would say, if you feel like you have projects to do, that money would be helpful to support those, then you wouldn't, you know, want to pass through. Whereas the opposite is true. If you feel like you don't have projects, then it may be something to consider. But if you feel like you have, you know, plenty of projects, things that you like to keep that money for, then, you know, it's pretty consistent with what we're seeing from other communities who have projects going on.
Do you have any input on that?
I do. I do recommend that you do as it's written up right now and not pass through any funds. You only have to 2029. We do have a lot of things on the drawing board right now as far as projects, and we also have seen in the last couple of years some possibilities that we would have needed funds for. And now we do have permission, and we are now actively marketing the old Key Plastics building again. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend that you maintain it to where you continue to make the impact back to these taxing entities is not that much money to where it's going to make a big difference in their budget. Like Greg said, once you pass through, good for them, but that does eliminate your ability to maximize the funds for potential projects and maybe to support the current projects. So I recommend that you don't pass through at this time.
Board, do you have any comments? Megan, Dana, Dan, Bob?
I agree with Warren. I think we should not pass anything through.
And I would concur with that, Dana.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Before you make that motion.
Oh, sorry.
Is Sharon Hartley still the secretary for solid waste? She's listed.
That is a great question.
For commissioners or
Part
for,
of the solid waste? No, so I think we need to change that to Lisa, right?
I'm the president of the solid waste, hazardous waste, that's why I decided
oh, okay.
But Sharon Hartley needs to change.
All right, so it's going to
This would go, you would be on here, Laura?
Right now.
Okay.
Would be no way for Greg to know that.
So we'll do that. We'll change that. Yeah.
The one other thing in the presentation, all your economic development revitalization areas, there's only one now. So where they were created as each one of the tipping allocation areas had its own revitalization area, they are now just one. We have the separate allocation areas as far as where you draw from, but you have only one revitalization area. So that actually you can spend any of the funds in any of those areas, because now you only have the one. I don't know that Greg would have had access to that either. I did that with Tom Pittman.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to be aware that that is actually the correct revitalization areas.
We did that, what, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Dana, would you repeat your motion for the record, please?
I will make a motion to not pass through any excess assessed value for the year of 2027.
And who seconded? Did you?
I'll second that.
You seconded that, Mayor. So we have a motion on the floor and a second to not pass through. Roll call vote, please.
Yes. Ron Dellison,
Yes.
Mayor Eckstein,
Yes.
Dana Watley. Megan Miller.
Yes.
Bob Kingery.
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Are you going to send a revised letter then, Greg, or do you want to amend this one, or what do you want to do?
The letter should be fine.
Yeah,
It's just the unit. The units won't actually get mailed. That's just who will mail it to.
Okay, so you just need this signed by me.
Correct. Yeah. If you just want to date and
Today's
sign it.
date?
Yep, that works, and we can.
You have that notice with that we're not doing the pass through. I don't have that package, so you have that letter.
Yes,
Monica
Monica will send that.
Monica will send it and
Presentation.
the presentation to you, Tyler.
Okay, so
You must see it?
yeah, okay.
Say it's not a resolution. It's just a letter.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's just a letter.
Okay, I've seen them. I've in some research. I've seen them as resolutions. It doesn't require a resolution. It just says provide written notice under the statute. So I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sorry, Bob, if I jumped the gun.
No, that's quite all right.
Will you hand that down to Greg, please, or whoever? Before we jump off of this, because you guys are free to go if you wish. Megan, Bob, I know, Megan, you've been on for longer than, you've got more tenure than we do, but you guys got any questions for Greg about TIF?
Nope, I think he
Less than
explained it
3 hours,
well.
I mean,
He explains it okay.
okay.
They're going to stick around to me.
You're gonna stick around?
If they
Okay,
can,
great.
We're going to talk about it.
Before you get off that topic,
Yeah,
I've drafted a new plan that we would ask the city to consider, or the actual redevelopment to consider for 2029 when the industrial park drops off. I have a new plan for that. We would have to act on that probably in 2028. I'd be willing to go through that with you, but you have lots of time. So several weeks before you really need to do anything.
okay. Yeah, I was wondering if we were gonna act on that before it fell away, so.
Yeah, we would need to. There would be an expansion of the actual footprint of that one because of possible developments. So when you guys are ready for that one, I have that. I can actually, I don't have that all written up for you guys yet, but I can do that pretty quickly because we already know what we want to do
Great, thank
as a recommendation.
thank you.
Yeah, and just a note on that quickly, and thank you, Warren. Yeah, you can redesignate TIFs when they expire. You can re-TIF it essentially, even if it's the exact same area, but you're starting back at zero. So again, it's not like you're extending the collections, but your starting point is back. But you can re-TIF a same area.
Seemed like there'd be a huge advantage to expand the TIF though.
Sure.
If you're gonna do that.
I can show you the last 5 years of investment in there that you're able to collect TIFs from. The city council members, you see them every year when you get SB1s. That will continue. So to restart just at a new baseline is fine because you'll continue to have investment out there. And what you have been able to do has greatly benefited the city.
Yeah.
And because the city's been benefited by new investment, the county has to. So I mean, your work's really important and you'll need to continue to find ways to fund that.
Move on to financial update. Dana?
All right.
You guys should have these in front of you.
Yes. So the Newberry Building has a balance of $10,999.90. The Industrial Park TIF has $240,348.14. The TIF Fund has $513,095.22. And the Daniels Building Escrow has $3,349.81.
Okay. When's our next draw, Dana?
For June.
Into June.
End of June?
And it will be, I would say not quite half, but it'll be 130,000 probably, give or take.
Usually my June draw is a little bit bigger than December, but I don't know what it'll be.
I might be running that.
Any questions on the financial report, fund report? Have a motion to approve the fund report?
I move we approve the funds report.
Mr. Kingery has voted to, or made the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ron Dudleston.
Yes.
Mayor Eckstein.
Yes.
Dana Watley.
Yes.
Megan Miller.
Yes.
Bob Kingery.
Yes.
5-0.
Some of those financial, those are the overall financials. We'll get into some of these. as we move into the Newberry and the Daniel. Newberry building. Gosh, where do we start, Mr. Mayor? You should have in front of you a HVAC kitchen systems findings report from Sub-Zero Solutions. There's been ongoing issues with that building as far as keeping the kitchen cool. Mayor, you can jump in here anytime you want. I'm on my own. Is that what you're
Well,
telling me?
you're doing just fine,
All right,
President.
thank you very much. So there's been some deficiencies. When the temperatures get excessive, the kitchen is very, very hot. And we've done some work, but it's not been sufficient. And what you have in front of you is a list of what Sub-Zero believes will fix this, and it's pretty extensive. And Dan, as we go through this, jump right in, because we did meet with Obies and Sub-Zero, and we walked through this the other day to see physically what's going to happen here.
If I could make this statement for you. start going through
Absolutely,
it.
you go right ahead.
You know, when this was, we'd done this, you know, we didn't know what was going to be in there, what restaurant, so we just kind of generic put some basic stuff in there without knowing what business was going to be in there. So this is kind of the adjustment as Obies has been in the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, number one on the front page, exhaust hood fresh systems. You didn't get this, Tyler. I'm sorry. I'll get it to you. So when they put the hood in, which was when we built that facility, the hood was a challenge because of the time frame. We lost the original hood guy. I'm not sure how to word this, but we did find somebody to put the hood in, and they were very good with it. Well, that hood was the best of the best. And we found out that it needed, because the draw was so great, it had to have exchange air as far as the heating. The air had to be heated or you'd get a negative air pressure in that kitchen. So we put heat in it. Well, guess what? We found out now we put heat in it, also needs to have AC in it to make that up. So what's happening in the summer is basically all the heat is laying right there. And when they bring the makeup air in, it's heated air from the outside. So rather than pulling air out and then replacing it to keep it cool, you're just bringing hot air in. So that's why one of the reasons the kitchen is staying so expensive. And the answer to fixing that would be to install a cooling system in there, and you have the amount in front of you. Want to comment on that, Mayor?
President, you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
We did have a contractor, though, that helped in the design of all of this, correct?
Now or then? Yes, the original contractor did the design work. It wasn't through an architect. It was through the HVAC guys.
So did they miss the mark, do you think, or did?
No, I think what happened was that the hood company, I don't think they missed the mark. When we sat in that meeting, and Warren, you were there also, they said nothing about HVAC or about air conditioning. It was mostly heat. And I think it was just an oversight at the time. So, yeah. So that's that. The basement HVAC. So there's a couple issues here. In that vestibule area, there was a heating and air conditioning. That vestibule area was extremely hot. If you remember, the doors wouldn't close. So they did put a separate air conditioning and heating unit out there. That unit went in the basement because that was the most expedient, the quickest, cheapest place to put it. But we're finding out that probably wasn't the best place to put it. So that unit is putting off heat and humidity in the basement. Well, another thing we're finding that because they're doing some food prep down there, there's humidity coming in from a couple of the smaller heating units down there. And what's happening is, as you probably recall, we're setting off the alarm systems repeatedly. Now, we've gone in there and we've put a great big fan and we're drawing that air away, and temporarily in the last, 3 weeks, I think, we haven't set that unit off, which is a plus. But the permanent solution to this is going to be twofold. Number one is to move that condensing unit, the HVAC, outside, so that heat is leaving. The second thing is to put ventilation, internal or external ventilation, pulling all that humidity and the heat out of the building and in those prep areas. And that's the second amount you're seeing. The third would be to install, to totally air condition that lower basement area. They believe because of the position in the basement, plus they're going to draw a lot of humidity down there, and the walls are going to start to sweat. We're going to have more and more and more issues, which is not only going to add humidity and heat to the basement and trip those sensors, it's also going to be rising up through and affecting the second floor. So you see the third number on that. Any questions on that before I move on to the kitchen? Mayor, you got anything on that? Did that get pretty fairly covered?
President, you're doing great.
All right. Number 3, if you've been in there, that place is cold. My wife complains every time we go in, and Megan, I'm getting a head shake from you. Part of that reason is they're trying to keep it cool enough with that unit to keep the kitchen cool to offset the issue with the hood. So once we fix that hood issue, a couple of things need to happen. The thermostat, where it is not in an optimal position, and they need to move that thermostat location. That's number one, and that the number is not on there. That was about $1,000. We talked about that a couple of months ago and haven't acted on it. So that needs to be moved. Secondly, they're going to install a zoning system, and basically what that will do is allow a separation of zoning from the bar area, the front area, and the kitchen. And then thirdly, they'll do a return plenum. So between the two systems, the zoning and the return plenum, what that's going to do is that'll allow them to shift heating or air conditioning from the front to the back as they need it, which is going to be twofold. It'll even the temperature controls in that entire facility, and it's going to reduce the electrical bills. He's confident it'll be that. So before I get into the final safe number, do you guys have any questions on what I just tried to explain poorly?
There's a lot going on.
Okay.
I'm quite an expert there.
More so than I wished. So as we spoke, we tried to piecemeal this out, and as we talked to Sub-Zero, and I trust these guys because they're very, very good, the safe number is about $30,000. He thinks it'll be less to do everything I've just discussed here.
All of it, yeah.
All of it. It could come in a little less than that, but he felt the safe number was $30,000.
What's the time frame that you want to try to get this done by?
ASAP.
Yeah, you're thinking what I'm thinking. The problem with it is when it gets warm out, it's always hot in the kitchen. But it was in the upper 80s, and I was starting to think of the reversible for the ready. If we got awarded, this could be upgrades that we could use.
Well, and that is my question,
Yeah.
because and I'll give you guys an update on ready, but I did put extra money into the ACHV piece of the ready budget to account for the issues that you're experiencing right now in the restaurant. I'll just wait till you guys are ready for a ready update, but we did know that there was going to be some issues. We didn't have that kind of breakdown at the time.
Yeah.
But there was plenty of money in the budget to cover that, if we could wait that long. and we don't know what long means yet.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. We don't know when they're going to release Ready 2.0 money. It's supposed to start climbing back into the 90s next week. So
I think there's some of it that we could, the basement aspect could be a part of the ready,
that's a great point, Mayor.
the kitchen, and the thermostat is driving the electric bill up.
Oh, yeah.
So I think those are something that really can't wait.
I think the general air conditioning in the basement could wait till Ready. I think the venting and the moving of the other unit, the moving of the condenser, that could probably wait. But I think we need to vent that out because I know Megan's getting tired of escorting the police in the building or the fire department. So am I. So
Yeah, wrong, Megan.
yeah, not you, not this Megan. The Megan, the one that keeps us out of trouble.
But I'm sure Megan would if she was in need.
Yeah, and if she was here, she would say, do this. I guess my recommendation would be to ferret out what we need immediately.
I
How
don't have
long
my,
is Obie's lease?
How long is there?
was it
Tyler, do you know right off the top
it
of
was
your
a
head?
5-year.
It's a 5-year lease,
Five-year
isn't it,
lease.
Obie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a graduated
Yeah.
5-year lease. Hold
Yeah.
on, if you give me 2 seconds, I can pull it up.
And we're just about a year into it, so.
We had talked about doing those 3 things, and I should have brought them, and it was about 12,000, 12 to 13,000.
About 13,000, yeah.
So it would be under 13,000 to do the things that would immediately make an impact, which is needed.
It's a 6-year lease.
6-year lease, thank you. So we have about 5 left.
It expires April 30th, 2032.
Okay.
So
So
we
6
would,
years left, 7 total.
we would be doing a lot of this stuff, even if a restaurant were not in there.
Yeah, if somebody else would take it, it doesn't matter who goes in there as far as a restaurant, this is going to have to be done.
Okay.
And I think also it'll impact eventually, it's going to impact upstairs. So whatever we do is going to be an improvement.
So if we would, I guess my thought is if we would approve, I think we hold the Feed the Fire and, there's a $13,000 quote and say, make it work. And the figures they gave us, I think that's enough, and that would leave the other part when we get ready. The official announcement, that would be. Does that
First thing going.
Should be seen.
Okay. Is that a motion there?
Yes, that is a motion to approve up to 13,000 to the HVAC.
And if I can detail that, that would be for item number 1. Item number 2, accept the HVAC, correct?
Yes. And then the thermostat relocation on 3.
And then do not do the zoning unless they could work it into the 13?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And the plenum. Okay. Thank you.
That's a motion.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I would second that.
I have a motion and a second. Monica?
Ron Duddleson,
Yes.
Mayor Eckstein,
Yes.
Dana Watley,
Yes.
Megan Miller, Bob Kinger.
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Newberry, the gift that keeps on giving. Dana, do you have any I've got these. Do you have any open bills out there that?
No, these are the only 2 that I have questions on. And I researched back, I sent you guys the itemized vendor reports.
Actually, this one is on Daniels anyway, so I can move on.
Oh, okay, are they both
Yeah,
Daniels?
that's a Daniels.
Never mind, we're on wrong
No,
building.
we're good. We're good.
It's the other building that keeps on giving.
Yeah, both those buildings keep on giving. Any other questions on Newberry? I suppose to that point, we can plug in the Ready update, because this is going to be germane to the discussion, I think,
Yeah, it is.
Warren.
because Ready has both the Daniels and the Newberry building on it. Before I get started, we have submitted everything. They came back and wanted to see a new budget, so I had to resubmit a new budget. So before I get started, I want to thank Sherry for being on the steering committee, because I've had to rely on somebody from Blackford County to be the other part of me on the steering committee. And she's been very good at advocating for this project. And it's been, it's for the region. Not everybody sees this is a good regional project, but actually it is. Rising tide floats all ships. So this really does benefit the region. I want to thank Ron for making time to help me sort through the numbers more than one time to help develop that project. So it is resubmitted, and they came back after we did all the work, asked for another resubmission, and we did that. So we should be in line for state approval. We've already been through this with the regional group, and that's been approved. So that has been submitted in the portal to the IEDC. So as soon as we get a approval from the IEDC, those funds should be ready to be drawn on. And because we're doing this project on the continued bot, we should be able to start within like a week of announcement of actually spending money. So.
Okay. Thank you, Warren.
As long as you can wait.
It's been 3 years? 2.5?
Yeah, I started.
A long time.
I've been working on this since the beginning, and we just found, I believe that the current governor is going to do some kind of Ron Bucks next year. So a different look at Ready, a different thing. It'll still come through the same type of regional grouping that we have right now, and we've already started talking about how that might look. So it's not easy, but we'll do the best we can. We'll need to start talking at least countywide about a shovel-ready project. We need to start thinking about that. What would we want to take a look at? And it needs to be as close to shovel-ready as it can, thereby wanting to make sure that you guys do maintain all your funds, because we'll have to have a one-to-one match, I'm sure of that. They haven't announced that, but I'm sure that'll happen. So,
Okay. Well, thank you, Warren. Before we back away from the Newberry, Dana, did you get Megan's timesheet for last
I have not. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I'll jump her about that.
Yeah.
She's going to have a lot of hours on there because she spent lots of time trying to chase things down. And
Yeah. So, and if she and I can work out an email system or however she wants to submit that to me or bring it to me, or I'll meet her somewhere.
I did talk to her last week. I thought she was going to go ahead and have that on. So far as I know, the elevator work is done, and they did that under warranty. Thank you very much. That was not an easy task, by the way. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for spearheading that. Anything else under Newberry? Yeah, jump up to the mic if you would.
Not an added expense, but I just want to give you a quick People's Marketplace update. Things are going well. They're having about $750 in gross sales each week. They've got 30 vendors. 3 of those are food-based vendors, and as you would expect, the food-based vendors are drawing in lots of other people because they're there for the fresh products. So it's getting people in the door, which is great. They have a little bit of an issue with their front door closing. So should they contact Megan on that?
Yes.
The bracket on the front door needs addressed.
Megan.
Okay, and well, they mentioned some light bulb replacement out front. I think maybe Phil talked about that when he was here before.
Give that to Megan also.
Okay. And they inquired about extending like a July to September market time. So I wanted to bring that to you to start considering that since we're already in May.
I don't think we're prepared to even discuss that right now.
No.
Yeah, so.
I think it's ready. Comes to fruition, we're going to have more data to go one way or the other.
Okay. I told him I would bring it to you and at least plant the seeds so that you could be thinking about, as we move forward, because I guess they're getting a lot of vendors asking, what happens in June.
We'll take it under advisement.
Okay, thank you.
It's interesting because I think, as we've talked to Obies, it's not reciprocal as far as the marketplace is getting more benefit from the visitors than Obies is getting from the marketplace. It's not a reciprocal thing, so. Is that clear as mud?
Yes, so they're eating and then they're popping.
They're going over next door. It's not, yeah, the destination is Obies, not the marketplace, so, okay. All right, Daniel's Building. What I have right now is the leases are up to date, they're signed. I'm sorry?
We need an updated one on, what should we say yesterday?
Artistry?
No, I've got updated artistry, need it updated on Stay Golden.
Stay Golden.
On who?
On Stay Golden, their lease is due to expire June 1st of this year.
Are those ongoing, Tyler?
He said it was
Yeah,
renewal.
so how those leases work, and I sent this to Monica yesterday. Those leases are automatically renewed over a year-over-year basis, unless and until we provide notice, they provide notice, which I believe off the top of my head is 90 days to 120 days. So as long as, and it sounds like we want them to be in there, we don't need to do anything. Those will automatically renew. What we need to do is make sure if we don't want that renewed, we need to provide them timely notice come February, March of next year.
Okay.
Whatever year it is. So they don't need to sign a new lease every year.
All right, perfect.
Woo-hoo.
We're good.
Thank you very much. That clears everything up. Well, clears a lot of stuff up. The occupants of the apartment will be moving at some point, and when they do, we will look at finances at that time.
Yeah, probably. I think that by the end of this month that they will be moved.
Probably in June or end of June, you mean?
Well, she said a couple weeks. They're closing on their house tomorrow.
Okay.
And she thought it'd be a couple weeks.
Okay. So that facility will be empty. Lean over and talk to the mayor shortly. We didn't talk about that yet.
I have not had a chance to look at that, so.
We have an
not-
invoice, a pair of invoices that we received, and I'm going to hang tight on those
Yes.
for right now. We need to. Okay, that would be paid.
So there was a,
That one could be paid.
let me see what the, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but the other one is.
Yeah, I have two invoices from Wilson Enterprises. One of them, the mayor and I are going to have to sit down with Eric on. The other one, they were tripping. It was a safety hazard, actually. They were tripping the breakers, the 50-amp breakers. So they ran new wiring and a new breaker for the tune of $750 just to keep it in compliance. And I can pass that down if you want to look at it.
To one of the detaining beds from the breaker, yeah.
So I would,
750?
750, yes. And then we will just, Mayor and I will talk about this other one to the vendor. And if the board is okay with that, I'll take a motion to pay that.
I'll make a motion, the
Yes.
750.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor and a fist fight for second. Who won that fight, Megan? Megan won that fight.
Dana.
Megan's
No,
younger
no,
and
Dana.
faster.
It was
Dana.
Dana? Oh my gosh, you all three fought. Okay. We have a motion on the floor by the mayor and Dana seconded. Monica?
Ron Dellison.
Yes.
Mayor Dan Exton.
Yes.
Dana Watley.
Yes.
Megan Miller. Bob Kinkery.
Yes.
5-0.
So real quick, part of the other invoice is that E. Wilson Enterprises has done a lot of the above Daniels. There's like a second subfloor that they were working on, the electrical, because it was outdated. And we approved that, was it a year ago, to initially start that. This is a secondary bill that I'm not quite sure where this goes, so we're going to find out.
Yeah, we need to get a
details.
breakdown on this one.
But he has been updating the electrical part, which was, we'll just say outdated. and had to happen. But that was part of the agreement we approved. I think it was last year.
At least a
Anyway,
year
so
ago.
just FYI, the electrical's being updated in second mid-floor of the Daniels.
Did we take the vote on that? We did, didn't we? Dana, the windows are back up. The roof is wonderful. Did we get all the insurance done on that? Did we get all those invoice or the insurance checks back?
Were we getting two correct back? Like, I was thinking there were two. I've got one, I believe.
Okay, so it was the deduction side of it. We haven't got that back
I
yet.
don't think so.
Okay.
I'm winging it.
So we have two new windows, a roof that's good for 10 years. Something to think about, the gentleman that did do the roof said for, I think it was 500, he could coat that and probably extend that roof to 10 years. That's something we might want to look at when we get the Ready grant money, so. Anything else under Daniels, Mayor, Dana, Megan, Bob?
No.
All right. Can't think of anything else. Probably is, I just can't think of it.
And we're pushing our hours.
Yeah, we are pushing the hours. Board comments. Dana?
No.
Megan?
No.
Bob?
No.
Mayor?
You know, I just appreciate you guys sitting on this. I know the pay is great.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I'm
But, you know,
next week.
we're doing a lot, and, you know, as we tackle an old building, it's costly. That's why a lot of municipalities are fixing buildings and communities, because it's expensive. But appreciate your guys' insight and volunteer time.
Hey, Tyler, last meeting, we talked about maybe having a procedure, something that we could get past here so that we had a minimal amount that we could pay without running all the details through council or through RDC every time. Just a bump on that, if you can get that to us.
Yep. Do you guys have a number in mind?
That was my next question. What we're talking about is, rather than going through $500, $200 approvals
and
every
pay
meeting,
those.
get a joint amount that the president and vice president could say, okay, pay it, and then we'll just run through.
In my opinion, it needs to be kind of a smaller amount, just because of, I guess my initial thought was 2,500, you know, just to, because it's,
fine.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you want to be transparent on stuff we're doing.
Well, we've given Megan the approval to call at will, so it only makes sense if the president.
So I guess,
and the vice
Tyler,
president-
I guess 2,500, that was kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think 5,000 is too much.
I think that's doable, and then I'd recommend that the whatever motion, order, resolution, et cetera, that's passed is just for complete oversight at the next scheduled meeting. Have a quick report and put that on the agenda.
That's fine.
I can start providing, oh, sorry, Tyler, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Of what's been spent, if anything's been, if any. That way it's covered. If there's an issue, we can address it.
Okay, could you throw something together and get it to us?
Absolutely.
Great. If you got any questions before we close out?
Dana's
I will start providing you guys itemized financials. That way
That
you
would be phenomenal.
That way you guys can
would
see
really be
what's-
nice. Thank you
And
very
if you
much.
want to do it month to date, or if you want to see it year to date, however, you guys can tell me. How you
Just meeting to meeting.
Okay.
And we can just approve them as we go.
Okay.
Any questions, Tyler? Comments?
No, I do not.
Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Next meeting will be June
11th?
11th at 10 o'clock.
Motion moved.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, so moved. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Just let it sit for a second. I'll take it from here.
Where it says exit session or?
Yeah, just hang on.
Okay.
So, Greg, you need anything else from us? You've got everything, right?
Oh, I